Being very entitled and controlling, narcissists have no difficulty stepping all over your personal boundaries. So that's why I put together an extensive video class called This Is Me. It has 25 videos, written documents, guided questions. I'm going to teach you how to have healthy boundaries. There's a link below, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. One of the things that tends to keep people tied to narcissistic individuals is we tend to think in stereotypes. Now, let me give you an illustration of what I'm talking about. When we talk about narcissism, one of the primary ingredients that's at the top of the list of defining that pattern of life is the need to be in control. And when I say we tend to think in terms of stereotypes, we think of a controlling person as someone who's super overbearing. They make no mistake who's in charge. They can be very bossy, overtly critical. They can be outrageous. They can rage. They can just overtly make your life just to be an awful kind of thing when you disagree with them. And so they don't leave much room for the imagination. It's just all out there. But sometimes we have covert narcissists, and they can think to themselves, oh, I won't control every bit as much as my loud counterparts over there. But you see, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot. I'm going to take a different path. And so covert narcissists are deeply committed to being in control, but they just simply don't want you to know that that's what's going on. And one of the favorite things that they do that illustrates that they are in fact highly controlling individuals is they keep secrets. Now, I want you to think about the opposite of keeping secrets. And we can say the opposite of keeping secrets is being open, having vulnerability. Certainly honesty is part of that equation. And the narcissist is thinking, well, if I do those things, then that might imply that I have a certain accountability to you, or you may learn some things about me that might require me to have to adjust in ways that don't meet my selfish agenda. I don't think I want to do that. And so they hold on to their secrets, but make no mistake, it's all part of their need to be in control over you. Like I say, it's just not in the overt kind of way. Now, I think it's interesting for us to pull back and take a hard look at what's going on inside that narcissistic person who is the keeper of secrets. Now, first and foremost, yes, they're saying I have to be in control. But basically what they're saying also is you're going to know me on a need-to-know basis. Whereas in healthy relationships, there's this thing that says, well, I'm an open book. Now, obviously, we have a certain amount of discernment that we have. You know, you can't be open with all people at all times because you just don't have the capability or even the willingness to invest in every single person and say, I'm just going to be an open book everywhere I go. Because, like I say, there are just times when discernment and judgment and frankly, time management doesn't allow that. But basically, when you have an openness, it's like, but if you want to get to know me, I'll be more than happy to share with you who I am. I don't have any kind of hard hidden agenda. Narcissist is like, no, I'm going to mete out my self-revelations only as it suits my narrative. That's the control. Now, they may say they're not controlling, but there it is. In addition, we can also say that as narcissists have this craving to be in control and they hold on to their own personal secrets, it's their way of saying, I've committed myself to a false front. And so what you see about me doesn't necessarily represent truth, and it's their own form of gaslighting you. Gaslighting is its own passive-aggressive way of trying to be in control. It's like, I'll let you think certain things, and then when you see some things that are a little bit different, you're going to start feeling confused, and then I'm going to come back and let you know it's not what you think it is, or you've got it all wrong, and it allows them to kind of keep their control by keeping you a little dysregulated, like, what's real here? It's like, good, I like for you to not know, that kind of thing. Now, in addition, as they keep secrets, and they maintain their sense of control, narcissists have decided It's good for me to collect data about you. I need to know who you are and what you're doing because that way I can kind of keep up with my schemes in my own kind of way. But you don't get to collect data about me. Again, that's their control. Double standards there, and any kind of reverse openness is just not going to happen. In addition, they may say, well, what I'm doing is I just have boundaries and I'm just setting my boundaries. Like, no, that's not what it is. When you have boundaries, it's not for control purposes. It's just for common sense purposes. Narcissists have erected very strong walls of defense around them. Their secretiveness requires them to have to be highly defensive. And it's like, you are not going to penetrate me. I am not going to let you know what's going on in my world. That's their need for control. We can also say that they don't have any particular regard for you. They want you to think that they do. See, again, the control is, I need you to have a really positive opinion of me as best as possible. So I'll let you assume that I'm a really positive kind of person. I have high respect for everybody. But they don't, and it's their way of trying to manipulate your opinions or interpretations of them. Compromise is simply absolutely not something they want to do. You need to compromise with them. They won't compromise with you. And it's important for you to realize they've already asked themselves a couple of questions. One is they'll ask the question, are my secrets necessary for me to take, are my secrets worth the risks that are necessary for me to maintain? And they've decided, yeah, it's worth it. I'm taking some risk was my thing. They may have some sexual proclivities or money issues or addictions or just not wanting you to know who they are, who they're associating with. It's like, it's worth the risk. I need to keep that up. They've also asked the question, is honesty worth the potential limitations that might come along with that? And they've answered that to themselves, no. Honesty carries too high of a price. I don't want to go into that space. And then whenever you do catch them in their lies or some of their secrets have been revealed, you know what they're going to say to that? It's not what you think. They still want to be in control, and they still want to go back and come up with revisionist history and all of this. So when we talk about a characteristic like control, we want to make sure that we don't just look at the outward manifestations of control, the shouting and the bossiness and the high criticism. And we also want to realize it does have many passive ways of being expressed. Being a secret keeper is one really, really, really large red flag. So when you look at this and you know this is what's going on, we can go next to the question, so what does that really tell us? When a person has to have this high need for control and when they're very willing to say, yeah, the risk of me lying is worth it, what does that say about who they are? First, we're going to say these are very needy people. They have such a need to have everything catered to them, and they want their way, and it's all about stroking their ego and making themselves feel like they're the most necessary and privileged and entitled person. Well, if you feel good about it, then don't keep secrets, but be open about it. Let other people share with it. But no, there's a pathological insecurity that's driving this. And taking it a little bit further, we can also say that secret keepers are ensnared by a sense of shame. The implication is, I'm afraid, I'm ashamed to let you know who the real me is. Whether it's with their addictions or their mismanagement of who knows what, it's like, no, if you found out about me, I would be so low in your opinion, and I can't stand that to happen. They're very judgmentally aware in the sense that you'll judge me, and I don't want that to happen. But make no mistake, they have a deep history of trying to run away from shame and escape it in any means they can. Which takes us to another primary point, and that is it's important for you to realize internally these people are deeply conflicted. The false self says, I'm very entitled, things need to go my way, I deserve for that to be the case. But the true self says, I can't really afford to let myself be known because I think it would be controversial and people wouldn't know what to do with me. But so they're very conflicted inside, but they make their rationalizations in the direction of their own self-entitlement. They dread rejection. They fear you rejecting them. And they're strongly guided by pessimistic and critical thoughts. For example, they presume people are stupid anyway, or I can't really trust anyone anyhow, and maybe they learned deep in their history that certain people can't be trusted, or I can't afford to have hope regarding my relationships. Vulnerability would be a disaster, and so they're guided by a lot of pessimism. So to that narcissist, I would want to say, do you understand everything you do communicates something? And just because you don't come off in this loud, abrasive, overt style of control doesn't mean that you don't have control issues. You'd like for them to just admit that's what's going on, but their sense of self-awareness and their strong propensity toward rationalization and justification is such that most of them tend not to say, yeah, I need to get honest. And another thing that I wish that I could say to that narcissist is, do you understand that even if you're doing something that's completely private, nobody else sees it or participates in it, do you understand that's still part of our interconnected nature? We're all intertwined with one another, and what you do in your private life still has an impact on the way that you treat people, and typically they don't see that. Basically, they've decided, well, being a keeper of secrets has worked for me. I'm going to continue to do so. And you know what my response to all of that is? Once I find that a narcissist is a big-time keeper of secrets, they exhibit that they have the need for control despite their protest to the contrary, I'm thinking, you get to be as controlling as you want to be. You get to keep as many secrets as you want to keep. You're free. And so if you feel like that's a good formula for living, if you think that that's going to get you somewhere, that means you're the winner, that's something you can decide to do. But you see, I'm free too. And I don't like this whole concept of being one person being in control over another, overtly or covertly. I don't want to be a keeper of secrets, nor do I want to be associated with people who have committed themselves to that. So in my freedom, I'm having to decide, is this a relationship that's worth me investing in? And I hope that videos such as this can give you some good awareness of what you're dealing with. As if you've not already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so, and we'll keep more videos coming in your direction. It's my desire to keep you educated so that you can move forward in the surviving part of this, the healing part of your engagements with these individuals. And speaking of that, if you have a need, you know that I'm sponsored by the people at BetterHelp.com. And so if you have a need for a therapist to help you sift these kind of things out, I would strongly encourage you to go through the link that we have below. There's a whole team of licensed professional therapists that could assist you. Take advantage of that if that's a need that you would have. Likewise, I have my courses, and these are meant to have a therapeutic impact. And each course has multiple videos with lots of written documents and then guided questions that go along with all of them. It's something you can work at your own pace. We have Ready, Set, Connect about making good connection skills. This is me about establishing your boundaries, free to be, finding yourself despite those controllers. We have my webinars, and those are briefer sessions that I have, and they can be highly beneficial, along with my podcast. We have our website with many articles. We have my books and plenty of resources. Okay, narcissists of the covert variety may say, well, I'm not that controlling. And it's like, well, if you're a keeper of secrets, you're uber controlling. Let's just be honest about it. It's like, no, honesty doesn't suit me. But I'm hoping you can be honest. You can know the truth. And when you see this in action, I'm hoping you can decide, I'm committed to being a person on Team Healthy. I stand for dignity, respect, and civility. And I'm not going to get caught in the whirlwind that all of their covert control implies. I want to be a person of peace.